an idea which is coming in. There is no idea which is too small for me to look at, and I've made it a point to respond to every single message across WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn as soon as I can. If you take the time to write to me, I will respect your time and efforts and will respond as soon as I can. That is just basic courtesy and mutual respect. I may be a candidate for Potong Pasir, but I'm only human just like every one of you. And I do value your feedback and your ideas. Today, I need to address a common question which has been asked over the last few days as my team and myself fanned out all over the estate. The question which many have asked me is this: what can you do for me which the current MP can't? This is actually a very important question, and I'm well aware that this is what runs through your minds when you decide who you vote for. To answer this question, I would just like to highlight 3 cases in which I have provided help and assistance to residents in Potong Pasir. There are many instances in which I've intervened with support, but these 3 form the basis of what I'm putting on the table. These few cases will provide you with an indication of why residents have been seeking help from me and my team as we pounded the ground over the last few years extensively. The first case is one which perhaps illustrates the speed at which I'm able to solve problems for our residents. On 5th of June this year, which was last month, which was a Friday, I had a call on my mobile phone from a 72-year-old lady who's a resident of Toa Payoh Lorong 8. She's also a caregiver to a mom who is 96, and they have been living there in Lorong 8 for more than 40 years. There was a precinct of blocks in Toa Payoh Lorong 8 which were part of Potong Pasir SMC until the new boundaries were announced in March this year. Anyway, Madam Chuang, whom I met during my visit to Lorong 8 before, told me on the phone that her 96-year-old mom did not get her solidarity payment in April because she did not have a bank account. And she needed help from the relevant authorities to have the payment made to her mom, but she wasn't really aware of who to reach out to. Anyway, I told her just to provide me both her and her mom's full names and IC details, and I assured her that I will help her. Within the next 20 minutes, I wrote the appeal and sent it off to the Ministry of Finance. By Monday, which is just 2 days later, the issue had been sorted out. This is what I mean when I said in my manifesto that the age-old Meet the People session may actually have run its course. Today, residents need to have their problems solved quickly. And with technology and communication tools, we must aspire to be more effective in how we can provide service to our residents. Having to wait for hours just to have an appeal heard should be a process from the past which we should just move on once and for all. Let's embrace technology, and for residents who are elderly, who have no access or are not so familiar with such tools, that one call to the MP or a member of the town's operation team should be good enough to solve a problem. While we are on the subject of MPS, let me now just move on to my second case. In February 2019, I was asked by another resident, who is a 42-year-old single mom, to help look into her issue of getting a permanent home. At the time, she was living with her relative in Potong Pasir and had applied to buy a resale home through a HDB loan. However, she didn't have enough to buy a 4-room apartment, and based on her income and the amount which she had in her CPF, it was assessed that she could only purchase a 3-room apartment. However, as she also had her parents to look after, it was quite obvious that a 3-room apartment would have been too small for all of them. In short, all she needed was a higher loan eligibility from the HDB. When she sought my help, it was at the back of rejections from HDB on account of her income and her CPF balances. These appeals were filed through the MP. When I met her to make an assessment of her case and to see if there were grounds for filing another appeal, I thought that it was strange that she had been rejected, especially since the home which she was trying to buy would actually be an asset for her to hand over to her son. So I sat on the floor, stared at all the documents, and got the appeal sent to the ministry and the HDB right there and then within the hour. She got a call from HDB soon after for a review of her case, and I'm happy that today she has a home where both she, her son, and her parents are all living under one roof. This case is an important one because what it shows is that we need to have the ability to frame all cases as sharply as possible so that we can get our residents the help and the intervention that they need when they need it most. It also highlights another issue which I've been constantly talking about, which is the importance of collaborative politics. Because we need our political appointees to also see beyond party politics. And in this instance, I'm happy that there was intervention by the people in charge so that we could help live the life of an entire family. The final case, which I would like to highlight, is one which was tragic, but it needs to be discussed because we need to hold our elected representatives accountable as they are stewards of the estate, having been elected to the office by the people. This incident happened on 15th of April 2019 in Potong Pasir in the wee hours of the morning. And I share this with the consent of the affected family. Members of the media who want to speak to me about this can call me after this. An elderly resident in his 70s who was walking back home at about 5:30 a.m. after buying his coffee, fell and ended up being paralyzed from the neck down. He fell because the upgrading contractors did not board up the area which was under construction. The resident tripped and fell after stepping on makeshift planks. Why the area which was under construction was not boarded up is anybody's guess, but as a result of the fall, the resident was in the ICU and, as I had said, was left paralyzed from the neck down. I found out about the incident when I was doing my block visits and I saw the flyer stuck at the lift near where the incident happened, which was put up by the family, and they were seeking witnesses. I called the family to check in on them, and that's where I found out what happened, and it was then that I saw the correspondence between the family and the town council. Anyway, all I can say, and all I'm at liberty to say right now is, it is my personal lawyers who are now helping the family sue the contractors for damages in the High Court as a result of the incident. I'm grateful to my personal network of lawyers who agreed to take the matter on a pro bono basis for the family. The resident, unfortunately, passed on in April this year, but I did get a chance to see him twice when he was receiving care at home. No resident should ever be placed in such a scenario. Imagine if the elderly resident who passed on was your father or someone close to you. I will leave it to my lawyers to seek justice and closure for the family. It is times like these when we realize that not everything can be solved by giving a templated appeal letter or through a handout. And we must, as a community, start making our voices heard that we expect a lot more from our elected representatives and our MP. That we had to read about a resident being found dead at home this morning in the media just illustrates that we need to build stronger networks within the Potong Pasir community. It points to the gaps which need to be fixed, ties which need strengthening. This is why I've emphasized in my local manifesto the need for us to have a lot more hardware and not just the hardware. You can have all the upgrading in the estate, but that is not going to solve the problem of the HDB lease decay, in that the value of your homes are going to decrease as homes get older. And by the way, just let me tell you this, residents in Jusing do not like it that they are being treated like a political football. Aljunied, Marine Parade GRC, and now Potong Pasir. How do you build a community in this way? How do you build an identity of a town? How do you build a resilient community without having them always need to lean on a handout or a freebie? We must understand their strengths as a community and the weaknesses of the community, the vulnerabilities, redefine the use of our spaces to cater to the needs of many, leverage on technology, and this is how we can build communities with strong bonds. Have systems in place in which people who are in need will be able to reach out and get the help they need as soon as they need it. Not once a week, but immediately and when they need it most. We need to be able to start thinking of the greater Potong Pasir community, which includes the private estates, the landed properties of Senate Estate, the parts of MacPherson and Tai Seng, which are now under Potong Pasir as well. Find ways to engage and enhance the lives of everyone in the area. We build on our strengths and we provide support to the ones who need it most. On this note, I am proud to share that residents have reached out to me over the last few days and have come up with more ideas on how we can improve the vibrancy of our programs for residents in the estate. I am glad that I have residents who are seeing beyond the usual carrots being put forward and are seriously looking at how we can take urban planning at a township level to an all-new level. A Singapore People's Town, the Potong Pasir Kampong version 2.0. Yes, we are at the back of a COVID-19 pandemic and we are expected to face turmoil and we will need economic restructuring to rise again. But isn't this also the best time to look at how we can plan for our lives in the HDB heartlands in a post-COVID-19 world? We need to move towards a new normal and cannot go back to our old ways again. Surely, we need to move away from a model of mass gatherings at CCs for events and need to start building programs in which we can harness technology, including for our seniors in the estate. A post-COVID-19 Singapore must include the repurposing of HDB heartlands and common spaces, especially if working from home becomes a future norm. Nothing should be sacrosanct. Local issues aside, we must continue to fight the need for common good. The mini gardens at the foot of the block may be a very good to have, but so too is being able to rely on your MP in times of need. It is not just about what I can do for you, it's about what we can do together for our estate and our Potong Pasir communities. And as I have said, the MPS concept is out of date, and with technology, we can and must help people immediately. This is why I set up the Get Help tab on my website at potongpasirhose.sg so that residents can just send me their appeals immediately and I can act on them immediately. We must do so much more and so much better for our people, and this comes through innovation and inclusivity. I'm also very heartened that over the past few weeks, residents from Potong Pasir, Juseng and Bidadari have been sharing specific issues that are unique to their blocks and their respective estates. Some of these issues are long-standing ones, and I appreciate that these residents are already sharing their concerns with me. These help me understand the concerns at a municipal level, and I have started thinking about what we need to do. But let's make this very clear. A member of parliament is not just an estate manager. He or she are also legislators and representatives of the people in parliament. Many a times we forget that MPs must also voice the concerns, the needs and the desires of our constituents in parliament. These issues need to be discussed by MPs who are the ones who help us shape policies for you and for me and for our children. If elected, I will speak up in parliament without fear and will ask the hard questions and shine a light on issues which deserve a lot more attention. Cost of living, wage inequality, HDB lease decay, climate change, mental health wellness, and discrimination. Unlike your previous MP, I will not be bound by the party whip, and I'll be able to speak up without fear or favor. So now, to go back to the question, what can I do that your previous MP can't? 3 things. Number 1, I will ensure that all your needs are looked after on a personal level. Number 2, At the constituency level, I will ensure that the town council and the amenities will be managed well. And number 3, I will be your voice in Parliament. I will speak up for you, and that I really assure you. 我会照顾和关心你，你是我的家人，我的波东巴西家人。Come 10th of July, you will need to make a decision. It is my desire for us to build a better tomorrow. July 10th, 2020. Remember this day. This will be a day where you tell your children and your grandchildren that you helped write history. If given the opportunity to serve as your MP, I assure you that your lives will not be shortchanged in any way. I hope to be your elected representative, but more than that, I hope to be your voice and your friend. This is a vote for the future, a future that we will have to build together, a future that we are part of and we are proud of, a future where our children and grandchildren will thrive and yet have all their daily needs met and problems dealt with effectively by a team of really dedicated professionals. I will take good care of you, facilitate the building of communities, and bring back the kampung spirit that Potong Pasir is famous for. I will also have your back and speak up for you. But I can't do this alone, and I will need you to journey with me. This is just our beginning. Thank you all so much, and I will see you all again very, very soon.